Hey guys, this is Emma Verduyn and I'm coming to you from the great state of Texas. Today we're going to be discussing the idea of informed consent and what that means for a licensed professional counselor in Texas. The two resources that we are required to refer to and abide by are from ACA's Code of Ethics and the Texas Licensure Board Code of Ethics. ACA ethics are listed in very generalized terms, whereas the Texas State Licensure Board does a great job of going into those general guidelines and delineating it for the counselor in Texas. Some of the things that ACA makes sure that everybody understands is that this idea of an informed consent is not a one-time thing. It initially begins before that first session, but it's a fluid process. Changes are allowed, changes are encouraged, but before those changes are put in place, the client deserves to be completely informed and the client deserves the right to consent to those changes. Both of the Code of Ethics do a great job of starting to describe what the role of technology is in the counselor-client relationship. This is a role that's just going to become more and more relevant in our profession, as we see right now. We're all working from home and have limited contact to the outside world. Also, the Texas State Licensure Board presents a couple of areas that I thought were interesting to learn about that I had not thought of. And the first one is they require that the counselor establishes a plan for what's going to happen with the client's records in the case that the client suddenly dies or becomes incapacitated or decides to stop treatment. Those records need to have somewhere to go, and prior to that crisis or life change, knowing where all that's going to be is a good safeguard to put in place for both the client and for the counselor. Then the idea of selling a product in your practice, for example, like a wellness plan or a devotional or a book or something like that, putting that into your informed consent if you're choosing to do that, and making sure that your client knows what your personal and business interest is with the product. That's an additional safeguard for both involved. If the client is already in a counseling relationship with another licensed professional counselor and wants to also begin treatment with you as a professional counselor, that is allowed in the state of Texas, which I think is great. However, there's some requirements in order for that to be ethically sound. First, both LPCs need to be made aware that the client is being seen by both counselors. Second, both LPCs need to agree to that. And third, and most importantly, both LPCs need to commit to collaborating regularly with each other, perhaps even developing joint treatment plans for that individual. If it's right for the individual, I think that's great. It takes a village to heal. It takes a village to raise a family and a child. It takes a village to blend a family. So if that's what's right for the client, I like that Texas offers that option for their counselors and their clients. Also, the Texas State Licensure Board gave a very clear indication of what the requirements are for record keeping. First, you are to hold on to all of those records for at least 5 years. Included in the records needs to be a signed informed consent, the receipt that the client read and agreed to that informed consent, any copies of court orders in the event that the client is receiving treatment off of a court mandate, what the intake papers are for each client, the dates of that counseling sessions took place, the progress notes for those sessions, the principal treatment methods used, the treatment plan that was developed and followed, and any billing information. So when I did a quick Google search for an informed consent, I found one from Austin Mindfulness Center in Austin, Texas. For the most part, it was very thorough and aligned perfectly with both the ACA and the Texas State Licensure Board Code of Ethics. one thing that they added that wasn't in the Code of Ethics was a social media policy. I thought that was really smart of them to do that. Additionally, there were a couple things that were missing. They did not have the plan for the records in the event that a client were to pass away. They did not say that minors are required to have their divorce decree on file and custody arrangements. It did not discuss the gift policy. No gifts for more than $50 are allowed to be given. And it doesn't seem to offer a translation for English language learners. The extra article that I looked up was Email Communications with Clients and Ethical Concerns by Bradley, Hendricks, and Cabell. I'm going to include it below. It does a great job of integrating these ethics into the idea of emailing back and forth between clients and how to explicitly communicate those procedures and safeguards within an informed consent document. So thanks, guys, and I hope you have a great night.